because I've seen it so many times. I'm like, I'm way better than this person. Like, I've worked so hard. I've put in 100% effort into this company and that, like, and I know I'm better than this person. But being the only black person in the office and then everyone else is white, for me to get promoted is very difficult. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I don't know what to do, like, to get promoted, because I like.
Alright, welcome to another episode of Diaspora. Today I'm excited to have my brother all the way from London. He's visiting the States, so it's just only right that we get a podcast in. So it's my good friend Musa. I've known him for quite a while, almost 10 years now, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, too long.
Long time, man.
Alright, so I'm excited to talk to you because you're a unique individual because you are a Gambian that grew up in London. At the same time, you came to America for a bit. So I want to kind of start from the beginning. So were you born in Gambia or were you born in England?
No, I was born in Gambia, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was born in Gambia. My dad is probably the one that came to England when I was born straight away in 1990, basically. And then he was a teacher, basically. He was a university teacher. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, back then, coming to England in the 90s, it was very easy. Like, as long as you got money, you got connection, you can just get a ticket and go. There was no like visas or like, you still need a visa, but you just go and then
from
move
Gambia.
there.
At least,
Yeah. You can move to England back in the 90s very easy. That's what my dad said, basically. Well, to him, because he was a university teacher, he wanted to go there and work for a bit, so he just applied and then got it and then went there. But so when I was born, that's when he moved. When I was 1 year old, that's when he moved straight away. He went there, started working, and then I think when I turned 5, that's when my mom and me basically decided to go and meet him down there. Like, that's when we moved down. That's when I moved to England. So I went there when I was 5 years old. My mom came back with me again. Then we went back again after, and that, like, because things were a bit hard. Obviously, for my dad, who was living as a single, person, like working and stuff like that. So, then we moved back. I think 2000 and 2001. No, 2000. That's when we moved back, basically, in that.
So you were 5. You went to England for a couple of years.
Yeah, we was there for probably about 5 years.
Yeah, but I can get closer.
Yeah. 5 years. Yeah, 5 years, and then moved back to Gambia, and then we went back again, 2001, basically, in that, with my mom. But also my brother, my sister came as well, because my dad's not originally from Gambia. He's from Sierra Leone.
No.
Yeah, so he migrated from Sierra Leone to Gambia just before the war started in Sierra Leone and that, and he moved to Gambia. There's a lot of Sierra Leonean that lives in Gambia because of the war and all of that stuff. Or they've migrated there, they lived there their whole life, and they become Gambians, like,
Right.
So there's loads of Gambian Sierra Leonean people, like.
So what part of Sierra Leone is like that from?
I think it's from Bo. I've never been to Sierra Leone, to be honest. Like, I've never been there. My dad's been telling me we need to go. I did tell him.
Speak French?
No, Sierra Leone, they speak English.
They speak English, Sierra Leone?
Yeah. They speak English. Like, they speak Creole. So I used to speak Creole when I was young, because my aunties all used to speak Creole to me, and that, like, as time goes on, it kind of fades away a little bit. Like, language, if you don't speak it, it kind of goes off you completely. So so he's from Bow and in Freetown, basically, but originally he's from Bow. And then so he migrated to Gambia. Then my uncle followed him, and then my auntie, they all moved to Gambia, basically. And then that's why got married to my mom. And after he got my brother and sister, moved to Gambia as well. And then after we all moved to England, 5 years after, we all moved to England with him and that. Yeah, so I was young, like, I never spent time with him until I was 5 years old. That's when I actually spent time with my dad properly and that.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's crazy. So like your mom is actually from Gambia though?
Yeah, my mom's Gambian. My dad's from Sierra Leone. My mom's Gambian. That's why my last name is Kamara. So the Sierra Leone Kamara is spelled with a K, whereas the Gambian Kamara is spelled with a C. So if you see someone that says C on their last name Kamara, they're more likely Gambian.
Yo, I didn't even know a Kamara with a C, but I know a Kamara with a C from Senegal.
Yeah, so those type of Senegal, Gambia, similar thing basically, but they spell their Kamara with a C. Anyone that spelled a Kamara with a K more likely to be Sierra Leone, because Sierra Leone spelled their Kamara with a K.
So what was like your earliest memory though? Like, do you remember growing up in Gambia, or do you remember growing up in London?
When it's more, I'm probably more London than Gambia. It's hard, man. It's hard. Like, it's hard to remember like my memory in Gambia, because man, it's I remember like a few bits. Like, when I go back, people tell me stories like how was I when I was young, and that, like, I'm like, oh, that's how I was a bit of a stubborn kid. Like, I was always running around, having fun, playing around, doing stuff. I used to have a lot of freedom, like in Gambia, but England as well. It was kind of like that, I mean, grow up in England, having my friends, my close friends, which is still I have a lot of close friends in that. It's different compared to now, nowadays in England. Like, back then, it's like, if you think about it, back then, we didn't have, if Gambia back then, there was no lights or electricity. There's only a few places that have lights and electricity and that. But moving to England, I think my memory of England was like, we used to play quite a lot outside all the time with my friends. We used to play football all the time, play sport all the time, and that, like, there was no, like, there was games, but we didn't spend that much time playing games and stuff like that. So we had quite a lot of fun time outside. So my memory in England was really, really fun. I had really good friends from all over the world. I didn't have friends like Gambian friends, but I have friends from Ghana, from Nigeria, from Angola, like, close friends, Zimbabwe, like, close friends that are still my close friends and that. But that's the thing in England. When you go there, you're gonna have your second family. They're not gonna be from your country. Like,
right.
They're gonna be all over the place. Like, people that you grow up with, like, that from day one. Because I always tell people London is different, like, from any other world in the country. Like, London is like a United Kingdom. Like, you can meet anyone from all over the world. You're never gonna feel that lonely, that, oh, there's no one like from my country, or no one from like this part of the world from me, like, or no one that looks like me. You get everyone from everywhere. But that's why when I moved to the US, people always like be like, oh, there's black people in London. Like, yeah. But this years ago, like, obviously people now know a lot, but years ago when I moved to the States, people just asked me, there's black people in London? Like, yeah, of course, there's black people in London, man. What are we talking about? Like, they always think like people just white people drinking tea and coffee and that, like, but nah. There's loads of black people in London.
I was impressed with how much like ethnicity, like, influence was there when I visited.
It's literally, you can find anyone around the world, any country you can think of, and there'll be a person living in London from this country. Like, it doesn't matter what language you speak, whatever. Like, you find everyone like in there. And you can see someone like, oh, where you from? They tell you some country you never heard of in your life. Like, wow, did not know there's someone from this country like living in England. But yeah, there's a lot, like, but mainly London, like, because outside of England, London, there wouldn't be that much diversity.
Right.
But in London, there's a big, massive diversity, especially now. Like, now you can literally have everything.
Everything, right?
Yeah, everything that you can think of. That, like, if you want to cook African food, you can have all your ingredients.
Right. Yeah.
In there, like, you don't have to worry about, like, oh shit, I don't have this, or I don't have that. You have everything.
Right.
So yeah.
So I'm gonna go back a little backstory. So we actually met for the first time on a soccer pitch when I think I was doing like a trial for PC.
Yeah.
That was looking back. That was a really loaded team.
That was a long time, man.
That was a loaded team. So that team won an MWAC, right?
Yeah, we won it back-to-back champion 2012, 2013, man.
I didn't make the team. I didn't feel bad, but I remember like just meeting you and you were like a soccer player, but you're also into fitness. You're a trainer. You do boxing. So I'm gonna really dive a little bit back into like your background. Right?
Yeah.
So how early on, like, were you like started, doing soccer? Because I know you represented England.
Yeah.
On the 19.
Yeah. I mean, for me, football's always been in me, like from young age, because just growing up in Gambia, we play football all the time on the street with our friends. That's what we do. There's no other sport that in Gambia apart from football. That's the first thing you do. You wake up, your friends are calling you, let's go play. You play outside, on the street and that. Like, so football's always been in my DNA from day one. And moving to England, I just followed basically football because it's easier to follow. It's the type of sport where it's a working class sport. Like, it doesn't require money or anything like that to play the sport. You can literally go buy football and just go and play. You can play with bare feet. You can play in Africa. We play with bare feet. You don't need to buy. You don't need to have shoes. Play with sandals and that. Like, that's what we play in England. Like, we play with our trainers and that. Play football around the corner, like in the play area and that. So football's always been my sport from day one. I played football through school. I was playing for my county.
You were saying school, like your primary school?
Yeah, my primary school, secondary school.
Okay.
Played for my secondary school team basically, and that played for my county team. County is basically, if you do well in your secondary school team in England, you get picked basically. So the best of the best, like in terms of school, will play for that area, that local area, which is I live in Newham basically in England, East London, and I was playing for Newham district basically. And from Newham district, you get picked to play for your whole county, which is the Essex County basically. So Essex County like that will be the top of the best, and that level was good level, obviously, of football, because you're still young in it. You're trying to make it in academy, which is like the top level academy, like Chelsea, like Arsenal, teams like that, West Ham and stuff like that. So for me, I was playing below the Premier League level, which is at that time I was playing for Dagenham Redbridge Academy, like, and that was League 2 basically, and that, like, so it's a good level, but it's a good academy in that. So I played in that academy until I was 16, which is really good. But I was playing good level football, county and district and my school team, and then that's how you get. I was getting like trials to go play for good level of, like, say League 1 or Championship teams, but they are really far for me to commute to those places, because one, if you're especially got a working class parents where both mom and dad are working and you're at home, they can't leave their job to go take you to a football club and that, like, because they need to pay the bills. In England, like, you have to pay your bills to survive and that, like, to live. And then obviously I'm not playing academy level where maybe you get a bit of money from the academy and that, but I'm playing in a level where I'm trying to make it in the football. That was my whole golden point basically at that time. And there's no way my parents are going to leave their job to be able to commute, take me to places to play. And the team that wanted me will basically play in the League 1, where it's far away. Like, it's not just in London, it's like outside of London. So you mean your parents will have to drive 2 hours, take you to training, bring you back and that. So that takes a lot of sacrifice. So obviously my parents can't do something like that. So for me, the best team I can probably play for, that was local, was Dagenham Redbridge, which is, I have to commute myself with my friend. We commute from like, take about 30 to 45 minutes on a train basically to go there and play and train them, and then come back home and train with them, like play football on Saturdays and stuff. So that basically was for me. Like, that's how I can basically manage and play football. But like I said, it's very difficult when you don't have a support through your parent when you're trying to play football, because it's not something easy you can do by yourself as a kid, trying to commit. And that's the hard part for a lot of kids that parents are working class, because you can be talented, you can be good and stuff like that, but if you don't have the support from your family or like someone that can support you, take you places that you need to go to be able to play, it's very difficult for you to go there, and you wouldn't able to see you wouldn't able to be seen, like, or you can't showcase yourself like in playing football. So it takes a lot of sacrifice for a lot of the players that make it into football, because it's not only them. It's not only them. A lot of people don't realize, like, these kids that make into pros, whatever, it's not only them that put the sacrifice and hard work. It's the parents that put the work in there as well. The family who looked after them put a lot of work and effort to be able to help you get to where you are right now. But if you don't know that, it's not you can just go and play. If you're lucky, the club will pay for everything for you to stay somewhere. Then well, mostly if you're trying to make it, it's not something that easy. You can just go and just like, oh yeah, I'm going to play for pro level and stuff like that. Yeah, so for me, I've always been into sport. So I played football, then from football, obviously, I went into boxing basically. So I started doing Muay Thai. For me, Muay Thai did help me a lot because of my, let's see, I was a bit of a stubborn kid as well. Like,
right.
Especially in London, like when you have a lot of friends that are your friends that you grow up with, but not everyone there is good. Some people can be bad as well. Like at the same time, you grow up with these people. They are your close friends. You do stuff together, but when you go out and then they get involved into troubles and stuff like that, in society you will basically be seen as a gang. Like, these young black, black, and that's how it is in England. Like, a black group of 5 or 6 friends will be together doing something. People don't see you as like, they're just friends. They'll just see us, young black gangs and that, like, getting involved into stuff like. And that's how it used to be. You can go out and for me, when you're 15, 14, that age back then in England is probably one of the most dangerous ages in England, like compared to the older age, because that age is they have so much freedom. Like they can get into trouble and without having any consequences over it. Like, so which means that a lot of the older people will take advantage of that age group, like in terms of getting them into drugs, like to sell drugs for them, getting them into like crimes and stuff like that to commit crime, because they can get away with it. Obviously it's changed now, but back then, 2000, 2001, 3, 4, all of that age time it was different when you're that age, and you have the different mentality because you're trying to show off to everyone who you are. And back then as well, England, like, it's one of those things, like, if you're someone that shows off or someone that's trying to be like, bad boy, whatever, you're probably more likely to be the popular person in the group or in school, in the society, like, because everyone knows who you are, and you wanted to be that person, like, I want to be like popular, I want to be this, I want to be that. And that's how it is. And a lot of kids tend to lose focus. And for me, I think I was kind of had a group of friends where I was losing focus of myself, in terms of like, what I mean by losing focus, like I was just thinking that I was born there, like I'm acting like all my friends and that, like how they are and stuff like that. Because sometimes you need a bit of a wake-up call, like, to understand this is not your country, and that you need to like work hard. There's people back home like literally suffering and that. You don't know that. There's a lot of kids in England that grow up there, make so much mistakes and I've seen that, because parents will send them back home to trying to get them to learn, like, you're here, you're privileged to be in a country like this, to work hard and achieve something. And you're here messing around, doing crazy stuff, and not realizing how privileged you are. Because if you go back home and you look at kids that would definitely want to take your place, they work hard, they push, they do really good stuff, and that they're trying to achieve something, and that, or even be better. But there's a lot of kids like in England that really don't understand being a black kid, like in a country where you're not from there. Like, it's not something that's easy, and that, like, there's a lot of obstacles you have to come through and go through as well. And you have to understand, like, you need to work hard, because everything's not going to come really easy for you, and that, like, as life goes on, it's going to be harder and harder, and that just because of who you are and the color of your skin as well. Like, so, and I've seen that so many times in England, like, where the black kids, I don't know about US, but where the black kids that grow up there, like, lose themselves completely, in terms of, like, they don't know themselves anymore.
Yeah, but it's not just like a UK thing, though. I think, it happens here too. Like, I have to also, like, try to make sure I'm around. I try to surround myself with good friends that remind me of that as well, because what happens is this: human beings were made to adapt. I think once you move to a new society, you adapt to it. you started, as well like kids, you started acting with like everybody else.
Yeah.
Once you fit in, you think you're on the same level.
Yeah.
You're thinking, right?
Yeah.
But you forget. You just forget.
Yeah.
And you know, thank God, like I said, I try to be around, you know, friends that remind me of like who I am and where I'm coming from, because that's so important. Like, I can't complain if I don't get the same opportunity. If people don't like what I'm doing, I have to understand that it shouldn't be that way for me anyways.
Yeah.
This system is not made for us. It's made for the people that are
100%,
here. We
100%.
come here to find an opportunity.
Yeah.
So, like you said, so I don't think it's just a UK thing. I think it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of sad that black kids don't, or Africans or whatever, anybody of color, when you live in a society that is not made for you, even if your friend do the same crime, yours is gonna ring louder, you know, and yours is gonna have more consequences.
Yeah.
Because you have an uphill battle, you know. You just make it worse, you know, by doing.
Yeah. For me, I was lucky because my mom advised me quite a lot. Like, there was times when I was young, like this happened regular. Like, we would go out. I was a very popular kid in my area. In Newham, it was a big like area, but I was a very popular kid. So we'd go out with my boys and that, and then we get into trouble. I would get like, we have problems with other kids from other areas and that. Like, you know, there wasn't even one time. It was something started on a joke level with my crew, with my friends, and then from boys from another side. Ended up someone putting a gun on my head.
Oh my God.
Yeah, just because, like, I did. For me, I was trying to stand my ground and that, like, you know, and the person was just like, you know, trying to take the piss basically, like, of, like, not backing off, like, because, like, you know, are you trying to make me look like an idiot in front of everyone, all of that stuff.
Ego.
Just that ego bit, and then, you know, from there, next thing, put a gun on my head, like, you know, and I wasn't even thinking. I was still like challenging the guy, like, in terms of like trying to fight him. But my mentality at that time, I was 16, like, I wasn't thinking straight. And if this could have gone a different way, that guy could, you know, shoot me and kill me like that easily. But that's how it was. And for me, obviously I had my mom that used to like advise me quite a lot. The lucky thing is I had to move out from that area to go to another place with my brother, and that's so I can able to change my lifestyle completely.
Is that when you started Multi?
Yeah, I moved to Cambridge. My brother was studying college down there, so I moved to Cambridge with him, and then I went into Muay Thai, because Muay Thai, what it did for me, it helped, like, in terms of like my anger, helped me relax a little bit. I wasn't thinking too much of like fighting or whatever, like, so it helped me learn how to fight, and learning how to fight did help me calm myself down, that I don't need to be showing myself anymore and stuff like that. So that helped really well, and I did that for 7 years. Did a couple of fights, and then I went into just training people how to fight, basically, like just teach them. But of course, for me, sports was my passion in that life. So I went in. I was still playing football. I went into personal training, basically.
So were you training Multi when you played for the national team? And I still want you to kind of get back into that, because you were saying where you stopped was where you were talking about you were representing Essex County.
Yeah. So I did Essex County. Then from there, when I was playing Essex County, I was playing football for Dagenham Redbridge, and then I think 16, and that's I wanted to move out. So that whole thing, that I wanted to move out the area of London, basically, to go to outside of London, Cambridge, to be with my brother and that. So when I moved to Cambridge, I went to Cambridge College to study basically sports science, sports studies, and then from there I joined a local Muay Thai club around the area now. So that I was doing that. So I was keeping myself busy, like, in terms of I want to have a new start fresh, basically, like doing active like activities and that, like, so I'll do Muay Thai after school, basically. I'll do football other days as well, like playing for Cambridge College football team and that. And then so I was studying basically sports studies, and so I did that. I met a lot of good people. Met one of my best friends, Clifford, still my closest friend there, Davis. A lot of my really close friends I met in Cambridge that completely changed my lifestyle, like, a little bit, because now I have positive friends that are not like into stuff. I will not get me into trouble. So I had that, and friends does influence your behavior and the way you are, and then these friends that I had, luckily, they changed my lifestyle, because they're not into that kind of behavioral lifestyle and that, like, and that's why they're still my friends from still now. And so when, like, from there, when I was at Cambridge Club, like, I think there was a tournament for England futsal team basically that was happening. So they were doing trials in Cambridge, like national all over England basically. So they were people were doing. They were coming into different areas like counties to do trials to try and pick the best English team like to go represent England for futsal team in Brazil. So I think I did a tournament in Cambridge, and then they're like, "Oh, you should definitely go for the trial for the England futsal team," because the tournament I did was a 5-a-side tournament, and then I was the man of the match, man of the tournament for that tournament, and then they decided to tell me to go to the tryout for the England national one. I said, "Oh yeah, definitely, I would definitely want to do that." So that was they did the national first tryout was done in Ipswich Football Club, like around Cambridge. So once
I heard about that.
Division 2, the championship level. So they did the trials there, which is the county one for all of Cambridge. So everyone from Cambridge, Ipswich, Norwich, they all went there to do the trials, and then from there they'll pick the best players that they think will go into the other trials. So then when I got picked there, and they're like, okay, now you can go to the national one. So the national one is like the whole of England. So you get players from Birmingham, London, like, Southampton, everywhere around London, like England, go into the national one. And the national was done in Old Trafford, like training ground. Yeah. Wow. That's like the indoor training ground, Old Trafford. Like that was my first time actually going there. Like, and then so you come there, you see everyone. They give you a tour around like the training ground of Old Trafford and like the Manchester United training ground. And then after that, you do the trials. So the trials, like, literally was so many people. But that's like, the trial goes for like 5 different days. So the first one, you get probably about 100 and something people coming down. And then they'll reduce the numbers down to about 80. And then they'll call you back for another month again to come down. They'll reduce the numbers to about probably 50. Another month, reduce it down to about, 30. And it kind of goes on until the last one, which they will reduce the numbers to about 11 or 12 players that they will take to represent England to go to the national, to go to the tournament in Brazil 2011, basically. So luckily, I got picked for that, and I couldn't believe I actually got picked for that. But yeah, I did really well, and so I got picked for that. And then after during the trials, like, decided to give me the captain for the England team. Whoa. Yeah, so that was like a big surprise as well. I was like, wow, we want you to be the captain for the England team, like to go for the trial. Yeah, so so then I took that, and then that was my first time going to Rio in Brazil. I've never been there, but that was that was unbelievable. Like going there, going to Rio was wow. The beach was so lovely, and just going there, experiencing like the type of football they play in there. Like, they have the beach football. That's one sport I saw in my life. I'm like, wow, these kids are so talented. It's unreal. Like, they play football 11v11 on a beach. With no shoes. Wow. Just bare feet. And then, like, they move the ball. You know how the sand is so uneven? Like, we play on grass. The pitch is even. There, the sand's uneven. And they play it really well. Pass the ball, move the ball, lift the ball up and volley it. Oh, my God. Like, that was an eye-opener, going there, and then going to the favelas as well in Brazil, like where they like really poor, like place like dangerous poor as well, and seeing all of that, like it just opens your eyes, like culture. Yeah, it's a different type of culture, man. It's a different type of players, but it's really nice. I loved it so much. I was like, wow, Brazil's unreal. Like this is amazing. Like, but yeah, and that was back then, 2011. I don't know how it's gonna be like, but it's completely different now, isn't it? So yeah, but that was a good experience. Yeah, we didn't win the tournament. Obviously, the favorite has to be Brazil. Oh, they won. They won the tournament. They were really good. They were really good. We just lost in the quarterfinals and that.
Yeah, you also tell me about how a lot of African teams out there say they were under 16, but they look like guys.
There were so many African teams, and so many African teams that were there.
They look older.
Yeah, they were a lot older, man. I'm looking at them like, wow, how old are you? This is for younger players, man. How old are you? Like, what? And they're like, so big and tall as well. I'm like, wow. Yeah, this. Yeah, I met quite a lot of African players, and they're like, oh yeah, it was nice talking to them as well. Like, it was a good experience. But you meet everyone from all over the world. Like, it's a World Cup tournament, so it was quite good to have that experience in there as well, which is really good. So.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's go to the next section. So you finish, the tournament in Brazil.
Yeah.
So how did that cross to like your journey to America?
Yeah. So that was the year that I decided I want to carry on with the football, because it was a good experience playing football, captaining the England side, and I was like, yeah, my journey is not finished. I need to carry on with football. I want to play more. And then one of my friends just went to the States for a football scholarship from my college, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. I want to do something like this. So I decided to finish my course, my exams for my college 2 years, and then went and doing a personal training course. So after my personal training course, I said, okay, I want to apply for a football scholarship in the States. I want to basically try out down there and see if I can start something there, and then trying to play football. And that was my main goal, to come down to the States and play football and start a new life completely. I've never been to the States. I don't know what it's like. It's going to be a different journey. It's going to be a new experience, new journey for me.
You decided?
Yeah. I just literally told my parents, I was like, I'm going to the States, and I want to go play football down there, and maybe I want to live there for the rest of my life. I will come back again to England. And that's what I told my mum. She couldn't believe it. She's like, what do you mean you're not going to come back? It's like, yeah, I don't know. Just, but I was me. I'm the sort of person I like to experience and have a, different journey to my life. And that maybe I think the US was going to be completely different journey for me. So, yes, I decided to say, okay, I want to go to the States and play football. So I applied for First Point football scholarship, and that, like, I went for a trial there, and then from there they do videos for you, and then they send it out to all the colleges in the States, and then they will basically, if the colleges like you, they will tell you, like, they want to invite you to come down for a scholarship and that. So I had like 3 options actually. Yeah, I had 3 options. One was in New York, and one was in I think it was in LA. One was in LA, New York, and in Port Angeles. Yeah, Peninsula Port Angeles.
Why did you choose Port Angeles?
Yeah, that, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I thought about it hardcore. I was like, New York, it's gonna be too crowded. It's gonna be too much, like, for me. And I don't know if that's gonna be me, because it feels like it's gonna be like London again all over. Because at that time I'm living in Cambridge. And then I was like, LA, I don't know, it's too hot. I'm not really into that much of a heat, man. Right. Like, it's too hot. I don't know. And I was like, Port Angeles, it rains a lot. That's exactly like England. So, but it's a lot of green, a lot of like nature, a lot of like, and I was liking that kind of vibe, because that's why I see myself, like, people were telling me, like, why are you coming to that place? It's going to be so much rain. And like, yeah, but it's outdoors, adventure, it's all of this stuff.
You didn't care about the soccer team. You just more about the weather.
The weather was like, the soccer team was good because I looked at the soccer team, but the other one in New York was really good as well. And the soccer team was good because they just won the championship that year when I was deciding in 2012, like 2011, I think.
Is that, is both like, are they the same level? The one in New York?
Yeah, same level. Oh, okay. But what also pushed me more to Peninsula was the diversity of, like, the team.
Right.
It was very kind of diverse, because you don't only get people from the States, you get people from all over.
Right.
You get people from Australia, you get people from England, you get people from US, Mexico, like, Canada.
Right.
So I was like, that's like, that's what I saw as well. I was like, do see myself in this place as well, because it's very open, but also just the area, like Port Angeles, like all of that, the nature, the outdoor bit, and it wouldn't be too much of a, like, distraction, like, in terms of like New York and all those other places where there's a big city and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's what pushed me there. So I said, yeah, decided to do that. So yeah, when I decided, I told my parents, like, yeah, that's it, I'm going. I literally packed all my stuff,
really?
Everything I've got. Everything. I shipped everything. because I told my mom, like my dad, I'm not coming back to England again. Nah, that's it for me. I'm done. You know.
Wow.
But looking at it this way, I'm coming to a country I've never been to. It's my first time. I mean, when I moved to England with my mom, I was a kid, so it was I went there, had friends in school and all of that stuff.
Right.
But coming to PA to USA, it was a completely different lifestyle. So
what was the biggest thing like once you get here? What was one of the biggest thing that was like a culture shock for you from England?
Like in terms of coming into the country.
Yeah. Like what was one of the hardest one? The first thing that you're like, because right when I got here, my first thing was my name. Like people couldn't pronounce my name. that one was like. I that's why I regret it in a way because I moved to Ezekiel. I should have stayed at Obama if I know. But like people started calling me Ayobama. That's when I was like, okay, stop. Like, Ayobami. Like, and it's like when I meet people, my accent is strong. Yeah. It takes like 3 minutes just to get my name right.
Is it?
And then it's like, where do we go from there? It's like, it was just hard. Yeah. Like, the language was the hardest one.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't the language because, I mean, our English is not that bad compared to the American English and that. And I think for people got my name. Yeah, it wasn't that hard talking to people when I moved to the States. I think it got hard later on, but like when I moved straight away, I was just excited. Like I was like, wow, I'm in the States. It's completely different. I was walking around PA, like it's very quiet, very but it's fine, like but I find everything very quiet. I remember I was like, wow, this place, there's no one here. It's so quiet.
Right.
Literally, I can't see people walking on the street. I can just look around like there's no one walking down. Right. But obviously, coming from Cambridge, coming from London, like it's different, Right. So moving here, they showed me around place, and then I realized there's no trains. Like to get to places, it's not gonna be easy. So I just start walking around like on the road trying to find places and that to understand. It's used to go from here to there, like around the corner. Just buses there. They're like completely different from here.
Right.
So that's why I noticed in that.
Right.
So moving here, it was different, but I was just trying to adjust to it, like learn how to adapt to a new country. Right. And then also having my teammates and college teammates, they all helped as well, but it wasn't only me from another country. I had people from Brazil, like that's their first time here. From Australia, it's their first time here.
Someone from Canada. That team was very diverse.
Yeah, so I moved in roommates with people like from Australia and Canada, and we all kind of gelled really well together, so it was nice. So I didn't find it really hard at all, but obviously later on it gets a bit harder because then you're like, shit, I need to start looking for a part-time job to make extra money for myself and to have food and all of that stuff and that. So that really pushed.
Do you think England is more immigrant friendly compared to America?
Yeah, because England is so easy as an immigrant. If you come down, literally you can land and then the government start giving you money like that easily because you can apply for stuff.
Right, like that social.
Yeah, you can apply for if you're a refugee, whatever, you can apply for stuff and then the government can help you. That's why people push so hard to get into England, because England's one of the easiest country to get into because you can get so much help so quickly within that really quickly. Yeah, you can get help from the government really quickly in that line, just being a migrant.
So that must be weird for you to get here. That's
for me,
insurance.
Exactly.
There's no job.
There's no health insurance, no job, all of that stuff and that. And in England, you don't worry about all of those health insurances. Right. Because you can just go to the hospital and then they can cure you. Here it's not the same. So that's what all of that stuff I have to think about. That's why after a year and a half, I'm like, I can't live in this country. I can't live in this country.
Let ask you a question. So how did it feel to be an immigrant in a developed country? Because you were an immigrant in London, but you also become a citizen that you grew up there. Yeah. It's like your home. Yeah. So like you said, it took you a minute to kind of feel like that, because that's what we feel. Once I landed in America, from the first week, because I had no scholarship or nothing like that. I had bills. I have to figure out how to stay in status. I have to figure out to pay my school fee, pay my rents. Like, I have to figure out what's the game plan. Like, am I staying here? Am I going back? There's like this swarm of questions that you have to start making decisions. But like you said, when you weren't even thinking, you were just chilling at first. Yeah. So when did you start thinking like an immigrant?
After, when I first came, I wasn't thinking like an immigrant. But afterwards, when things become harder, because then now you need money.
Yeah.
Just trying to survive. I don't have any insurance and stuff like that, and I need money for food basically. Like, I was paying for my college fee, and then that was it. And then the rest, I need a bit of money like for food and all of that stuff.
Rent.
Yeah, rent as well. I was like, this is not easy living here. I'm telling you, it's so difficult living in the States. It's so hard. So I started basically just talking to my coach. I think that was the first thing I did, talking to my coach to find a way to make money. And the first thing my coach was doing, trying to help me, because lucky I have a certification in terms of personal training. I'm very qualified. I have certificates. I've studied that in England, so I've got good certificates. So the coach, first thing he did is to help me get a job at the college, like in the gym.
Right.
That, to earn extra money when the job opened up straight away. So I started doing that. And I started talking to the coach about how to get more jobs outside. I mean, I think when you move here, you have to be able to find people that you can talk to that can help you. Right. You need that. Right. It's not easy to just come. Like, you need to find the right people. And luckily, having my coach that I was talking to quite a lot to help me, talking to local people and stuff like that about jobs. I literally was even dog sitting people's houses and that. Like, I'll go there.
I cut grass. I cut grass and sleep.
I go there.
Nathan got me a job where I would go in the cold.
Yeah.
This woman doesn't like lawnmowers.
Yeah.
So I would literally go there and kneel down in the cold. You know how I used to go cold in Paranjis? Very early in the morning. And I would be like literally taking out like tiny weeds from this lady's yard.
Yeah.
But that was the only job I could get.
Yeah.
Because like you said, if you don't know anybody, and you move to the state, that's why most immigrant goes to big cities where they can get a lot of options.
Yeah.
There's no system for you here that is gonna help you.
No.
I mean, good luck.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's like it's an uphill.
It's very difficult. Yeah. Very difficult in that. So I was just trying to hustle, trying to find any means necessary to find jobs. I was, doing dog sitting people's houses. Yes, and then went to work in YMCA for a bit, and then lucky. I did. I went to work in YMCA in the gym, and I was doing a bit of coaching there with them, because this all from the coach helping me out, talking to people, local people, and finding ways to make money, and this all money with cash in hand, basically, it wasn't
But also, you're a full-time athlete.
Yeah,
you are
exactly.
You have training.
Yeah, so I have training every day, school every day,
and
every
you have
day.
to still do the extra work.
Extra work. So I was just weekends, days I'm not in school, or I'm not training. I'm working basically in that.
Wow.
So it's very difficult round and round, trying to get clients outside to train them, to make extra cash, and you have to just trying to find ways to make money. That was it basically. Luckily I also got coaching job, coaching the local high school team as well, and then that was a bit of money that was coming in as well. But yeah, I was just trying to find ways. But I realized after a year it's very difficult to live in this country. I couldn't handle it.
So compare that to England. So let's say you're a student.
Yeah.
That is playing soccer in England. What are available to you?
Well, if you're a student playing in England, because in England, there's no scholarship for school compared to here.
Okay.
There's no scholarship. Scholarship will be academy type of if you're smart, but not sport.
Okay.
Because our sport in school is just sports to play. It's not
sport
level of you can recruit players from other countries that come down there. England don't recruit players. It's just kids that go to the school, play the sport. It's just sport, just to play. That's it. You can get seen playing the sport in England and then get picked by academy team. But because we have academy teams all over, big clubs and that's where that's where you can able to thrive into and that. So not school at all. So you don't get scholarship for playing sports down there. So if you're going to England, you just have to go for study. That's it. You can get scholarship just to study and that, like. But it's not easy to get a scholarship in England, like, to study. You have to be really, really up for it.
So, but like, if you're a citizen, or let's say you're an immigrant,
yeah.
So do you have to pay out of cash, out of pocket for your school fees and stuff?
It all depends because immigrant, they have different, like, if you're an immigrant down there, there's no school fees that that you pay in school. England, you don't pay for school fees for people that live there, like. So if you're an immigrant, it's probably going to be free because the government will pay for your school fees and that, like. If you're coming from another country to study, that's when you pay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If you're coming as a student.
Yeah, as a student from the
But like, let's say, I might go there, then I want to go to school, then the government will figure out.
It's free.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Schools is free, healthcare is free, everything basically is free for immigrant. But that's why a lot of immigrant wants to get in England, because once you landed and you're in there and you put yourself as an immigrant, like, it's good because your life is probably going to be sorted because you can get help to build yourself up and that, like, by the government. But if you come there, if you come there to study, then you have to pay for school fees.
What was the most surprising thing that you didn't know about America and you learned when you get here about America?
Surprising thing probably was the I think for me it was the healthcare, like, because I was really scared with that one. I did not know, like,
Sorry.
Like, I did not know, like, I did not even think about it, like,
so used to it. Like,
I did not even think about it.
I didn't
like,
have it for like 3 years.
Because in England, like, I never think about healthcare or anything like that, because medical, everything's free.
You guys just go now.
You can just go to the hospital and then just look after you and go home. Here's not the same. I was like, and then insurance is expensive, man. I'm like, so you're telling me I have to pay for my rent? I have to pay for insurance? I mean, what other stuff you guys pay as well? Like,
you got electricity, bro. You got electricity. You got water. You got phone bills, bro. So imagine, like, when I moved there, like I said, like, my first month. I remember I moved there as a student. My first month, when I checked the school pamphlet, it says 2 credits is $250.
Yeah.
So when I was coming from Nigeria, I was budgeting $250 a month. I was like, oh, I'll get a job.
Yeah.
So my my first day at school, I went to the international student office, and she told me my rent was $550 with home care people. It was like $550 a month, and then I have to figure that out. That's for everything, for food or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't eat their food. Yeah. And then I already owe $3,500 for school fees, and then plus whatever else I had to take care of. Like, I mean, it was just like that day. And then I wanted to call home. I remember I wanted to call home. Yeah. And someone was telling me I have to get like a phone service, then I have to get another service on top of the phone service to call home. Like, like it's like it's a lot, like, like real quick. And I just started adding up.
I know. Yeah, I mean, for me, when things got really tough, I'm like, I need to go back home and I can't stay in this country and that. Like, it's too much for everything and that. The good thing about this country is if you have the money and you got a good job, it's good.
It's good, yeah.
If you start fresh, it's hard, man. But once you get it, like, you're good. Like,
so what do you think being here though, like, taught you about yourself? Or going through the experience here?
Well, in the States, I mean, to be honest, like, it's a lot of grind. Everyone grinds here, like, everyone hustle to try to achieve something, to get somewhere. Basically, it's not easy. Like, it's not easy place to come down to, and that's the thing I find about the States. Like, it's not easy, but there's a lot of stuff, around as well at the same time.
Right.
But I mean, when I was here, I was literally hustling. But I think that changed me, because then when I went back to England, I was hustling in different ways, like, trying to achieve different things and that, achieve like my goals and that. And US is like that. There's a lot of, you have to work hard for
it's
what you have to work hard to get somewhere. Like, it's not something easy that you can just come in and feel like it's going to be easy and that. No, it's going to be difficult as hell, especially when for me, coming down, you have no family, no friends, no one, like, just my first time in the country. I have to push myself harder and that, like, no support as well, like, so everything was down to me to try and find ways to get somewhere, achieve something and that. I mean, now, which is good, I've done that, but it wasn't easy living in here, for sure.
So were you impressed with the level of competition in American, like soccer, the college soccer.
Yeah, I mean that one surprised me.
Yeah, like, I think like most England think like, oh, US. Bro,
they still think like that.
I know.
we still think like oh, US football. Nah, soccer is not. It's just.
But it's a bit intense.
Huh?
I'll come to you guys' game. It's a bit intense.
Yeah, because in England, it's okay. The difference is here. You guys are very into fitness, like running and all of that stuff. In England, the ball does all the running. You know what I mean?
The what?
The football.
Oh, okay.
Does all the running and that for you. Like meaning like you guys don't have to run around like here. Everyone's fit as hell. Everyone's running all the time.
Oh, so it's saying
people are very fit in here because of the fitness level is like but we play the ball a lot quicker.
Oh, okay.
You know what
so
I mean?
you guys don't move as much, but you play the ball.
We move, but the ball moves a lot quicker. Like whereas here, you guys run like up, and I'm like, how you guys got the energy, man? That's too much, brother. You guys run up and down, up and down. Like whereas England is like pam, pam, pam. The ball moves really quick, like for you, so you can be in one. You can just turn position, and whereas in the States, like a lot of running. If you watch the game in MLS football, but that's why in England they just like. They still think that MLS football is a joke, like it's not football.
No, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. MLS is still a joke. That's how they say it. I even think college football is more fun to me than MLS. MLS is just like
that's how they say it. Like it's not. It's
like
no people go there to retire. That's how the people say in England. You go there, you go to MLS, but that's how it's been like because all the English players or all the European players when they're old, that's when they come down to the MLS. No one decide to come to MLS when they're in their 20s or 30, 22 or 23 or 25 and that. When they're young, everyone's when they're in their 30, 35, 34, they're retired. That's when they come to the MLS and that to play.
So let's talk about food. So let's say you're in someone's visiting London, and since you're from Gambia, so you know the good food out there.
Yeah.
So apart from Nando's, what is the next spot? I know you're gonna say Nando's, but
Nando's is the best spot, man. It's the best spot, like in England. But the thing is, I'll be honest with you, like in England, especially London, it's a country. It's a city where when you come down there, you're not gonna have like because the English food tradition first, like fish and chips and stuff like that. You go to the pub and drink because it's all over. There's like pubs everywhere and that. Like, but when you come to London, that's like I said to you, so diverse. Like you can have a Moroccan restaurant, a Greek restaurant out the corner, and that like a Lebanese restaurant, like you have a African restaurant, you have all of that. You have different options, like Chinese, Asian restaurant. There's a lot of Asians, like in terms of Indian, Pakistani, Bangladesh restaurants in there. Like, so you have a lot of different type of dish, like that. It's not only just English food and that, like So that's one thing you're gonna get in, and I mean Nando's is South African, like So right, that's another thing like you'll get, and. That's the thing. You guys have a lot more, but I would not see like in terms of you guys have a lot more like maybe American type of dish and Chinese and Japanese and stuff, but we will have a lot more in terms of like African, like people African, like not African, like what West African, East African, South African. You have those you have those type of dishes in there. You have dishes basically from Asia, like like so it's very like multicultural. It's very diverse in that here I mean even here being here now I would not see like Indian Pakistani restaurant. I can't see that. Do you get what I'm saying? I can't see an African restaurant. Like where's the African restaurant? But I can see Japanese, I can see Chinese, like kind of stuff. I can see burgers, I can see McDonald's and stuff like that. Those fast food joints restaurant.
Right.
You'll get that here, which I've noticed after I've seen those kind of things.
Yeah.
But back home in London, you'll see a lot more.
Yeah. Of
like all over and that. Like of
you
like
took us to like Middle Eastern restaurant.
Yeah.
We want to get that was dope.
Yeah.
I don't even know what we got.
Yeah. You get all the couscous and all the other stuff from that. But that's the thing. You get all of those type of food and those in London. Like so, it's really good. It's very diverse. But the food there is really good. But it's so easy to find. Like one thing I don't know if you guys have it here. Like you can go to a market where they sell everything, like the fruits and vegetables.
Like Asian stores. They call like Asian stores, or like they have like World Market, or like for example like soup. Like there's a place called oh my god, I forgot the name of it. I forgot the name of the mall, but there's a mall here close to here that is supposed to have different, like ethnic stuff. Like there's ingredients, but it's not a lot of them. At least not in Washington State.
Yeah. So
LA, New York will have better options.
We will have everything, like in terms of like African countries, Asian countries, European countries, like of ingredients like that you can have. Well, I think maybe it's because also England's closer to Africa as well, like so it's very easy for things to get there. That's why when I mean I've noticed that as well. Like people that live in England tend to go to Africa a lot more than people that live in the US.
Oh, definitely. Because it's 6 hours, like you go to New York.
Yeah. So I've known people. They've come to the US, haven't been to Africa like a long time, but it's harder because it's so far away. Whereas in England, it's like close by. I mean, I go to Africa, I go to Gambia like regular,
right? Like
since I was a kid. I mean, that's one thing. I'll probably thank my mom for that because she never stopped speaking to me in Gambian, like in Wolof, like since I was a kid.
You speak Wolof?
Yeah, and that's one thing she did. Whereas my cousin and that, they don't speak. They're forgotten about it. So they can understand, but they can't speak it properly. And that.
Oh, okay.
My little sister can't speak it properly, but she won't understand. But whereas me, I always go back home and that, like, but also even going back home, just open your mind up,
right?
Because it changed me completely. I think when I was young, going home and seeing how things are, it makes me feel like I need to change completely. Like when I go back to England and try and achieve something and be somebody in there, like,
right?
Because it's not easy, like, you know, for some people back home and that, like, they have to work hard, hustle. It's not easy. The grind is not easy down there. Like, things are very tough. Things are very difficult.
Right.
And then when you live in England or you live in the US, you should thank God, like, you know, you live in this country like this where you can able to achieve something. Right. And if you being silly and not achieving something good, like, trust me, there's someone out there would love to have your position to do something good for their family, for their life, and that kind of stuff. So going home does open your eye up completely. So I would definitely recommend that to anyone. You know, if they haven't been back home, they have to go and see what it's like. It has changed a lot. It has developed a lot as well. But you will definitely, your mindset, especially when you have kids that are young, take them so they can see it. Because it will open, it will literally change. It will change them, because they will start to like understand, like, I'm in a good spot right here. Let me try to do something better. Especially living in England, living in the US. You know, in England, like, living there is, it's not easy, like, as well, because especially being a black person, like, you know, I've listened to some of your podcasts and that, like, about, like, say people discriminating you as a black person, or like being racist and all of that stuff. I mean, it's not compared to here,
right? But
down there it's hidden. Like, it's a very hidden racism. Like, where I've experienced that like quite a lot, even at work now. Like, I see it. I have to push harder to achieve something compared to a white person, which I'm better than that person, same position as me, to be able to achieve my goal and that. Like, and it really pisses me off, because like, I'll do such a good job, but just because I'm black, I get seen. If I do any little mistake, I get seen easily than a white person. A white person can get away with so much mistake, it doesn't get noticed at all.
Right.
But I do a bit of mistake, it gets noticed. So I have to like be on point 100% every single time.
You can't make a mistake.
Every single time I have to be on point to try to like please people, like to achieve something, because like if I do a bit of mistake, then that's it for me. You know what I mean? So yeah, and I've also, my friends and that, like, in England, people are not racist in front of you, like, or they're not like tell you, but they are very hidden in terms of like they will say it in a different way,
right? Like,
they will say in a different way for you, like, for them to be racist to you, like, and you were like thinking, hold on a minute, what you just said, sounds like you're just being racist to me, like, you know.
Right.
But they wouldn't say that, you know. They wouldn't.
That's
they
the
wouldn't
worst.
show it.
Because people think people that support Trump are the worst, but no, people that like you don't know they're racist, or they're not even aware they're racist.
Yeah,
because they tell you like, oh, I'm not racist.
Yeah,
you know, I have black friends.
Yeah,
you know,
they're not aware of it.
They're not aware of it, and they don't understand. Like, oh yeah, you know, when you telling, you know, Musa, you're telling Zig like, oh, you know, we're not sure if you're good for that position because you just can't understand you. You're literally telling me that I'm not good enough. Like whatever I am is not good for you.
Yeah,
you know, it's like it's definitely like an interesting thing to go through, especially people that live in developed countries.
Yeah,
but I think that's kind of what I was trying to like, you know, segue to end. I'm gonna try and touch a bit about Gambia, but before I got to Gambia, I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Exactly that, like just like growing up in England, you know, apart from like a group of friends, like being in a place where, like you said, you can make mistakes, you have to be perfect. Like, how do you think that kind of affects, you know, some of your experience, you know, growing up, you know, there?
It kind of really, to be honest, it really stressed me out completely, and that like because I've seen it so many times. I'm like, I'm way better than this person, like. I've worked so hard. I've put in 100% effort into this company and that, like, and I know I'm better than this person. But being the only black person in the office and then everyone else is white, for me to get promoted is very difficult. Like, right. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I don't know what to do, like, to get promoted because I like me and this guy. So the company I was working for, like, okay, it was we were in the office basically. Even everyone, my other colleagues were saying, wow, you should definitely be the one for stepping up for the manager job and that kind of stuff. But because I'm the only black person there, there's like 4 other white people in there. I was pushing so hard, like every time, putting 100% everything in that, like top salesperson, doing everything right, like working hard, bro, like putting effort into everything in that. The other person would probably put a little bit of effort into it. But they tend to see that a lot more than mine, basically. Like, oh, this person's doing really well and that. Like, but I don't. It's like, I feel like sometimes, like, especially in England, like, some white people think they're better than you.
Default, right?
Yeah, they're better. They don't even have. Even you could have a higher position than them, like better job than them. They're doing low position job than you. But to them, yeah, they still look down on you. Like they're better than you. Like you know that, and I see that. I'm like, why are you acting like you're better than me? I'm like hiding you, like. But
no, yeah, it happens here too. People like who hear I'm from Africa, they hear my accent, and automatically they just assume that I need help, or like they assume that I must be suffering from something. Like, oh, this guy must need something because you're from Africa, which is, again, I've come to realize. I think it's just some people haven't educated themselves. Not in school. People have gone to school, but they're not educated themselves about any other country apart from their own country. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're doing this kind of talks and all that. Hopefully people can learn from it. Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, I've noticed in England, especially developed countries, like only few people will make it properly. What I mean, make it like in terms of any job, because one, the people that do the jobs that no one wants to do will be the Africans that are coming down trying to work hard and make it. Like they will do the cleaning stuff, the toilet cleaning, all of the cleaning facilities and stuff like that. You wouldn't see that many black people like doing the high-end jobs and that. And that's the hard part because because they look down on all these other people that are cleaning all of this stuff, like doing the low-end jobs and that. It doesn't matter if you know, like what job you do. Like you could be, as long as you're black, they'll still look down on you as a white person. Like, and that's hard because you see it. You know, you're like, I'm in the same position you, I'm higher than you, but you still see me as like below you. Like, that really pisses me off. Like, completely. Like, like, what do I need to do? Like, but that's how it is. Like,
and then when you're the only black person at the job too, that's like, you gotta be proper all the time.
You have to, because
you can't scare people away.
They will see. They see you really easily. Anything you do, you get spotted really easily. Everyone else can be doing anything, whatever, but you do something, it gets spotted easily. And that's the thing is, it's not easy. Like, it's not easy for black people. You can be in sports, they still look down on you. Like anything that you do in life as a black person is difficult. You have to be 110% better to be able to get somewhere. That's how it's not going to be easy. Like, oh, you know, even if you're educated in that, like, you studied hard, whatever job you're going for, you have to do 110%. Like in a developed country, I mean, like, that's why back home you don't have that stress, that all of that, you know. Yeah, Africa, you don't have all of that stress. You can go and enjoy yourself, move around. People don't look down on you because everyone's same skin color as you. But in developed countries, it's different, man. You know, unless you own a company and that, like, then you own your own business and that, like, then that's the only way. That's the only way, like, you know. But if you work for corporate companies, if you work for whatever you're doing, you know, teacher, law, you know, scientist, whatever, like, people will still look down on you just being a black person. And I've seen that. I worked in companies and people now do that. That's what pissed me off. That's why I kind of quit my corporate companies. I still work, but I just wanted to have my own business and that, like, and because that's the only way. I don't want anyone telling me stuff because I want to achieve my own thing. And yeah, and that's how it is. And no matter what country you go to, England, US, it's always going to be like that. It's always the same.
I mean, this is really great because I've been like kind of talking you since you got here yesterday about how I think you need to start your own thing. So maybe whenever you come back to the state, you're gonna already start your own thing.
Nah, I have to, man.
You got me into fitness, you know. You're the one that kind of got helped me early on when I started. So, you know, there's nobody that I think is more qualified to start like their own.
I've already started in that, like, just building it up now. That's it. Like, you know, I've worked with someone and then trying to build my own business from there. Like, just carry on with it. But
I think that's the only solution, bro. Unless we're the one hiring, we're the one owning stuff, you know, and that thing is always going to be there. You know, that stigma of the only black person at the job is going to be there because we're not the one calling the shots. Whoever call the shot have the most power. It's just how it is. You know, the game is not fair.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. I guess it's not.
And the thing is, like, I've seen it so many times. People are so educated in Africa, and they move to England, and they have the lowest class job ever because your qualification in Africa doesn't mean nothing.
And you know the worst part? Those people have to take that money because they need it. That's the worst part. It's like crazy, they can't even say no to that job. They have kids at home. Like my uncle was a pharmacist in Africa, and then he came here and they have to start all over again.
You have to start.
You know, and some people, like you said, don't have that much opportunity. They will come here, they'll be say taxi cab driver or some low job, and you know they have to take that money. They have to survive.
Yeah,
that's the worst part. It's like not only that you have to do something you don't want to do, you have to take that money because you don't have a choice.
Yeah,
you just don't have any other choice.
That's the thing. It's hard, man. It's hard, and a lot of people like in Africa don't realize that. But obviously, it's good to come down, and you know, like trying to work hard and achieve something for your family back home and all of that stuff. But coming down doesn't mean that it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough.
It's appreciate. And that reason, you know, has been like my biggest motivator is to kind of open people's eyes to it. I think people, it's one of those things where like when you are in a poverty, you know, it's hard to think of something different, but you just have to really, really think of the price. Though. It's like you might not see your family for a long time. You might not be able to do it. You're gonna come to where you're not. This is not meant for you. You know? this is not creative for you, man. You know.
Yeah.
So now let's go back. Let's end this. You know, I'm going to talk a bit about Gambia, your heritage of Gambia. So you say you speak Wolof, right?
Yeah, I speak Wolof, man.
Nice.
I speak Mandinka when I was a kid. Yeah. I understand it now, but I've kind of I struggle, but I still speak it a little bit.
Do you speak Wolof fluently?
Yeah, not fluent like compared to people. I mean, fluent, yeah, definitely. Like, you know, it's still there. Huh?
How do you say hello in Wolof?
Nangadef.
Nangadef.
Yeah, that's how I say it.
What do you say back?
Mamfi.
Okay, right. Nangadef.
Mamfi. Yeah, that's how you say it, man. All right. In Wolof. Yeah.
And so, what do you think people should know about Gambia, bro?
I mean, I always tell people, even in England, like all my colleagues, everyone, like when I'm going to Gambia, like just literally tell them, I say Gambia is known as the smiling coast of Africa. Like there's no, I'll be honest with you, like I haven't been to other parts in Africa, but there's no country in Africa safer than Gambia in terms of like going on a holiday as a tourist in Europe, in the US, anywhere you want to go in the world, anywhere from the world. You can go to Gambia, literally, you will have the best time of your life. You will not have any stress about anything, like in terms of like crime or gang or whatever. Like it's the most peaceful country and it's unbelievable, like, you know. And I took one of my best friends, like and he's from South Africa, and he goes to South Africa holiday, and he went to Gambia. He could not believe how much of a freedom he had to able to go out and enjoy himself. Don't have to worry. Even before he was going, he's like, "Oh, are you alright for me? I'm okay to bring my chain or my watch. Like, I've got this expensive." I was like, "No, you can bring all of that. Nothing's gonna happen to you." Literally, he walks around in the town, in the area, Gambia. Like, people, he just talks to people, play around with them, and people are so friendly. Like, people are so friendly. They will just come down and talk to you, and they help you out whatever you need, and that. And that's what I said to people. Like, Gambia is so peaceful. It's unreal, and that's why I go holiday quite a lot, regular, to see my cousins and my mom's family, part of my family, like my cousins, like there, because my whole family, my blood family, like my brothers, my sisters, everyone lives in England, but it's my mom's family, like my aunties and my auntie's kids. They all live in Gambia still, so I'll go there and see them, visit them. But it's unreal. Like, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. And it's developing as time goes on as well, like, and I would recommend that to anyone, that if you haven't been to Africa and you want to experience a holiday, a peaceful holiday, or somewhere you can go and chill and relax and stuff like that, and not have any worry in your back of your mind, like, oh my God, something's gonna happen to me. It's a place to go to, and that it's just very small, very peaceful, and everyone knows everyone. So literally, you can travel the whole country within one day.
Nice.
Yeah, that's how crazy it is. You can go from one end of the country and back again within one day in Gambia.
That's nice.
Yeah, so it's just easy and simple, like.
Nice. So what is your favorite Gambian food when you touch down home?
I mean, right now, my favorite food that I struggle to able to make is super kanja.
Super kanja?
Yeah, it's super.
What is in it?
It's you can make it with meat, like literally. I think you have like the okra in there, fish. That's the thing about African dish, like, compared to other European or whatever dish, like, it's got so much ingredient in there, like, it's so healthy for you, like, your body just needs all of that. But yeah, so it's super. It's a traditional Gambian dish, basically, and it's just, you can have corn, like fish in there, the okra. But my mom knows how to make it, like, I will struggle to make it. So it makes I mean, for me, I know how to make the domoda, jollof rice and all of that stuff. And but and also because my dad's from Sierra Leone, so I know how to make plastas.
You were saying plastas, right?
Yeah. So green plastas. It's really good. It's a Sierra Leone dish. One thing in England, which I always tell my cousins, like, when I'm cooking, they're like, "What, you're cooking?" Because back home in Africa, men don't cook.
Yeah, that's
Gambia, men don't cook. All the women, because you have like probably 5 or 6 or 8 women in the house, in the same compound, so they all take turns to cook. So men don't cook. So I always tell my cousin, when you come to Europe or England, like, or US, you have to cook for yourself.
It's different, bro.
You have to cook for yourself. You have to learn how to cook from scratch.
You've been living a luxury
life. You know what I mean?
Like,
for me, when I was young, I was living with my mom. My mom was cooking. When I went to university, I literally had to call my mom. I was like, "Mom, what is this?" Like, and then she would just literally like, "Oh yeah, this is how you do the jollof rice. This is how you do the domoda." I start learning from that, and then start cooking it and stuff. And then just that's how it is. And then I start following people from YouTube and that, like, doing Gambian dishes and that, like, just learning some of the other stuff that they make. As long as you got the ingredients, you can follow dishes now. But a male African person, if you want your proper good dish, like African food, you have to learn how to cook it.
Right.
Unless you got a good African whatever.
So you're saying that plasas, right? So it's green cassava leaf.
Yeah, green cassava leaf. You can make it with chicken. I like to have the chicken and the meat in there as well. You mix it with peanut butter, basically. You get all your seasonings and stuff in there, and then you got your fish as well put in there. Nice. And leave it to cook, and then trust me, it's unbelievable, like, food.
So lastly, why do you think Americans should visit England?
England's it's a lot of there's a lot of culture in England, basically, and that, like, a lot of history in there. I mean, England's the place to visit, to be honest. Like, if you've never been to Europe, like England, France, those are the countries you have to go. Like, I mean, England colonized most of the half of the world, like, you know what I mean? So you have to go to that country to read about the history, about what England's about, the Queen and all of that stuff. So that's one place. If you're from the States and you haven't been, I would definitely recommend, buy a ticket. I know there's a lot of people from the States that's never actually traveled somewhere different, but I would definitely recommend that for a lot of black people to just get a ticket and go to England and visit and see what it's like, because it's good to also experience other countries and around the world. And that, I mean, for me, traveling around different part of the world does open my eye up quite a lot, and that's why I want to carry on doing. Like, I still want to travel to Asia. That's one part of the world that I feel like, Japan, very developed country, probably ahead of us in terms of like technology and stuff like. And that's one place I want to travel. But like, I've been to US, a few countries in Africa, Europe as well. I've traveled around Europe, in Brazil and all of that places and that. But yeah, I would definitely recommend somewhere in England to come if you want to know about a lot of history about the world and stuff like that. But it's just also London is really nice to come down to as well. So I think that's one place you'll have to come down to see the Big Ben, all of that stuff. Go visit the Queen area.
The Stones, what I want to see. I didn't see that last time.
Which one?
The Stones.
Yeah, the Stones. You can definitely visit that as well.
They still don't understand how you get there, right? It's one of those wonders, right?
It's a weird part. Yeah.
So it's like just too heavy.
It's so big. It's really big.
That's why I didn't.
Yeah, it's really big. But like how we get there, but when you get there, it's a talk. They will explain everything to you as well. But it's really nice to go there.
Just in the middle of the field, just these big stones.
Big, in a circle, yeah.
Do you think someone know how to get there?
I don't know how to get there. You think about years ago, but yeah.
Thanks so much for doing this, man. I appreciate it, bro.
I definitely love it.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Diaspora Podcast. For more episodes, please subscribe below.